Please listen carefully.
Hello, universe, and welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Amelia Buckley.
And I'm Kristy Jansen, and we are part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to get us all focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, happy Veterans Day-worthy podcast. Today is Thursday, the 11th of November, 2021. Hi, Kristy.
Hi, Amelia. It's also my mom's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday to your mom.
Yes, happy Veterans Day. How's the weather treating you out there in good old Montana in the mountain west?
It's a balmy 32 degrees out today.
Ooh, nice and warm.
Yeah. No, actually I'm getting used to it, and it's so dry that it feels very different from like a 32 in the mountains in California. I will wear the same clothing here when it's 30 degrees as I used to in California when it was 50 degrees. I played tennis yesterday. I'm leaning into it.
I think that's great, but I think also our bodies acclimate to where we're at. So for me, I would be probably freezing my backside off. Really uncomfortable, right? Because I'm coming from the balmy weather of California, and I'm a baby when it comes to cold weather. Whereas, and if think of somebody coming from a tropical environment.
Oh,
I
yes.
think Ariel was talking about when she moved from Costa Rica over to the Netherlands, how hard that transition was.
She also said that the transition was hard for her dog because her dog doesn't really understand what's happening. It was like, what the heck? Why am I now in a part of the world that's freezing cold?
Didn't we have an article the other day about looking to the Norwegians for tips on how to deal with the winter?
Yeah, we did. Maybe we'll run a follow-up that's tips on the winter from a Montana
perspective. Well, one thing that you might want to think about if you have a gray, dreary day, which I have now that I get up early, and I've been using this daylight savings, the end of that time to keep my time chain. So I get up an extra hour early to do like writing and meditation and stuff because I was shirking on that.
Uh-huh.
But when I do, I get up and I turn on my new Aero Garden.
Oh, what's
LED
that?
lamp, which is like an indoor herb garden, because I'm always complaining about how I can't grow anything in my yard because I have no light. But what I now have an inside light that I turn it on. But I turn it on in the morning and I feel like the whole room gets brighter. I feel like there's a little bit of almost sunshine. I know it's not. And I'm really into it. I think it's going to be one of my big Christmas presents this year.
So is it one of those like white, I've seen some, but is it like a white tower with the little like holes in the side, kind of like a big strawberry pot?
Big. This is one that you could actually fit on your kitchen counter. And the light is adjustable, and I think it goes up to like 12 inches, but then they have ones that go up to like 24 inches. So you can grow, and they have different sizes, and I'm sure there's different brands, but I'm really into indoor gardening right now.
So what are you growing?
Aeroponic. So I've got some dill going, some basil, some parsley, which hasn't sprouted yet, and mint. And I'm going to be getting lettuce. I'm really excited about having like lettuce. I can always have some lettuce going in my kitchen, like freshly grown lettuce. I'll just pick it for a salad every day. You can do tomatoes, you can do peppers, you can probably do anything, but I'm just getting started. So this is my indoor garden, but it makes me feel like there's a little bit, it's like a whole new level of houseplants.
Wow. I was going to say, my houseplants have adjusted pretty well to the move so far. They're like, they're doing okay. I also put like the ones that love warmth a little bit more closer to the radiator, and they seem to be pretty happy over there, but maybe I'll have to look into indoor
Just get a couple LED lights. You can get those and just give yourself a little indoor garden.
Make my own little California in the middle of Montana.
A little California in Montana.
All right, so we've got some stories today. Speaking of tropical destinations.
Kind
of a transition.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're talking about animals.
Maybe being more respectful while in tropical destinations.
What do you want to go first with your story?
I'll go first with that one. Okay. So my story, the headline reads, Travel company discontinues bookings with captive whale or dolphin shows. And this is an article that's actually about Expedia, which is the vacation booking site. So it's kind of, I don't know if listeners have used it before, but it's basically a one-stop shop. You can book flights and lodging and activities for wherever you're going. So they're kind of like the online version of a travel office, essentially. But Expedia is one of the bigger ones, and they announced this week that they are no longer going to sponsor activities or lodging options that feature captive dolphins or whales, which means that basically they're not going to sponsor any hotels or activities on their site that allow guests to interact with dolphins or whales or swim with them or that do shows with them. And they announced this on Twitter, and they wrote, "We recently adjusted our animal welfare policy. As a result, attractions and activities that involve performances by or interactions with dolphins and other cetaceans, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, will no longer be available on our sites."
I like this story, and I think it's an interesting signal of the evolving understanding of non-human sentience in species that share our planet.
Definitely, especially in whales and dolphins. I mean, I don't know.
Right,
I'm sure
which
you saw Blackfish, that documentary about this issue.
Yeah,
And it's a huge thing, and they're very smart, and they need a lot of space and social connection and mental stimulation. And there's very few human designed areas that can offer that as well as, the ocean can.
I mean, think about the experience that so many of us went through over the last year and a half when we were all in lockdown and how we were going like mentally and emotionally batty because we were locked in our homes.
Yeah.
And
that's how they live their lives.
That's how they live their lives. And it's just not right. So anyway, I like that they're doing this.
I like this one especially because I think that there is so much power to businesses leading this because activists have been calling for this for decades. This isn't a new issue, but when businesses get on board and you have financial leverage over these institutions that still offer these shows and interactions with animals, then you can really enact change.
Totally. And the business model, like I think travel and this kind of experience, which is, I have to admit, awesome. And the idea of swimming with dolphins is incredible, swimming with whales. There are locations where you can do that with animals that aren't in captivity. I think in I know somebody who did a dive with whales in Fiji, I believe, something like that. These were not whales in captivity, humpbacks, but she got some incredible underwater shots and incredible experience. But on the other hand, we have to acknowledge that these are really amazing animals that have their own intelligence. And I mean, it's sad maybe that somebody won't be able to do this in a commercial way. But hey, if you really want to go swim with dolphins and become a marine biologist and learn how to live in the ocean with them.
I guess the nice thing about dolphins, even whales too, but more so dolphins, is that you can see dolphins pretty close to shore. If you're, I'm in Santa Barbara, I would watch them early in the morning doing their thing, swimming along the shore. Whales are a little harder to see. I've seen them, but not as frequently.
Anyway, I just think this is a great movement in the right direction in terms of acknowledging the beauty and intelligence of non-human animals. Speaking of non-human sentience and non-human animals, and perhaps not even non-mammalian intelligence and wonder, my story is also about animals because I want to talk about ants, which I don't know if you ever had like an ant colony in your bedroom when you were a little kid. I
wasn't a bug kid.
Oh, really?
I didn't really like the bugs or snakes or anything. I was more of a mammal-focused child.
Yeah, I like life in all its forms, I have to say. So ants are a very fascinating species. So my headline reads, "These ants can transform from worker to queen with one single gene." Granted, I wanted to say it on the pod because I just like how it sounds. There's a musicality to that headline. But it's also really a fascinating article. It's talking about ants, which are a fascinating creature. The social dynamics of ant colonies are so complex and so interesting to study. It requires sophisticated mathematical models to map them out. So like us, our human brains can't think like an ant exactly, but it's always been so widely understood or shared about the strict hierarchy and how every individual in an ant colony has a specific job, which is determined by age. So there's the sterile workers, which are maybe genetically female, but they're not productive. There's the reproductive males, and then there's the reproducing queens. And under these hierarchy, the colony's main collective goal is to reproduce and grow the whole population and also protect their queen, because the queen is the only one that's actually making more ants for the colony. So it's sort of this collective mental space, not about the individual, but rather about the colony. And that's the typical model. And usually in ant species, individuals that are born into their placement in that hierarchy. So you're born sterile, or you're born male, or you're born a reproducing queen. And it's not like you can like move up on the social ladder, if there is such a thing. I think that may be a very human like projection, but if there is a social ladder, and you are a frustrated sterile worker who wants to be a queen. In fact, there's a one kind of ant, the Jerdon's jumping ant, which has the ability to, based on environmental cues, to help a sterile individual turn into a reproductive queen. When worker ants receive the signal in this colony, the whole colony gets reprogrammed, and some sterile individuals become queens. And it's based on a single gene. So I just think it's just such a fascinating article. The reason that it's important for us to think about is that understanding the neuronal processes which are involved in simpler organisms like ants, can give us clues to understanding how these might work in humans. We all have plasticity in our brains, even though we think that we're super fixed. In a lot of ways we are. Our response to the environment can really transform how we work in it, similar to many animal species. Like adolescence is a time, I'm dealing with that with my son right now, his brain doesn't work the way an adult's brain works. He got into trouble recently about making a bad decision that he was trying to argue with us made total logical sense. Anyway, that was pretty funny.
He'll figure it out and thank you down the line.
Yeah, exactly. He wanted to do what he wanted to do, and he interpreted what his father told him the way he wanted to, even though it wasn't actually. Anyway, we don't have to go into that. But anyway, I think it's an interesting article. It might give insight into other applications for neurological disease treatments for human beings. Just knowing that this kind of mechanism exists in this ant species. But I just think it's cool. I
like the message behind it. Like, if you work hard enough, anyone can.
You work hard enough, you can be a queen. Which I don't think it's necessarily the wonderful position that it's cracked up to be. Because that queen, yes, being protected, and she gets to sit inside her lair and make babies. But then she has to sit inside her lair and make babies only.
She just needs to go out and rob the sugars off of my kitchen counter in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, we have a lot of other great stories on the Optimist Daily today, too, also relating to animals. I think we got a couple other ones. We have shark scales, a day spa for fish. So that one's really interesting about a symbiotic relationship. We have new Navy ship named after gay rights leader Harvey Milk.
Speaking of Veterans Day, right?
It's a good timing.
Yeah, but I like that. It's kind of gets the Navy and gay rights leader.
That one's really interesting, too, because I didn't know that Harvey Milk was actually discharged from the Navy for being gay. So it's a nice like full circle in how they're changing the way things are done.
So yet another signal of our evolving consciousness.
What is the ideal bedtime? Science has a new answer. I'm not going to give it away. You guys have to go check it out on the website and see what the ideal bedtime is. And whole genome sequencing is a game changer for child cancer outcomes. What else, Kristy?
All right. We have an article. The headline reads, "Can a machine read your mind? Turning thoughts into words." And this is specifically focused on paraplegics, but it might have applications beyond that. 5 ways to rest for renewed energy levels. Over 40 countries pledged to shift away from coal during COP26. Speaking of coal, how coal could help desalinate seawater in an eco-friendly way. That and more is on the optimistdaily.com. Go check it out. And that's it for today's Optimist Daily Update. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We promise to keep this positive solution-based chatter going. with ideas on how you can get active, participate in the changing world, and ensure it is changed for the good. We promise to keep covering it. And consider becoming an emissary who we are reliant on to keep the Optimist Daily going. If you're not already, you can help support reader-funded independent journalism starting at just $5 a month. So be a part of the solution-changing consciousness that addresses our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset. Thanks, everybody.
All right, guys, let's keep the Optimist Daily free to all who need it, supported by those who can, and we will be back tomorrow with more solutions and a special interview.
Oh, yay. Yes, that's right. We have an interview tomorrow. Great. All right, Amelia. Talk to you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Sophie.